Hello, welcome to Dundrell's podcast. I'm your host Justin. So, I did a poll asking you guys what did you guys want me to review next, and I I jumped the gun because usually only one person ever votes on these things. So I already did my based off the initial voting. I did a review for I did a review for Lightyear. Now it's like it's like tied with Guardians of Justice. So I'm just gonna do a review for Guardians of Justice. And whoever wins in the poll will upload that review first. So yeah, so I've been in the mood to watch superhero TV shows because I was binge watching The Boys. Started watching season 3, and I needed something to fill the void until the next episode comes out. So I watched both the first season of Umbrella Academy. Hated that show, and then I went and watched this, which I've heard bad things about the show before going into it, but I've decided to check it out, right? Because the creator of this show, which I didn't know at the time, but he is Adi Shankar, and he comes off as somebody who's probably a comic book fan. He was the executive producer in a lot of comic book projects. Comic book film projects. He produced Dread, 2012 with Carl Urban, and he also made those like bootleg universe short films. The most famous one probably being the first one they did, which was Bad Laundry, with where they got Thomas Jane from the 2004 Punisher film to reprise his role as Punisher, which I love Thomas Jane's Punisher film. In my opinion, it's the best Punisher film. I know a lot of people think the Ray Stevenson one's the best. Fuck you, the Thomas Jane one is the best, right? Yeah, so this is a superhero TV show. It has 7 episodes, and they're roughly half an hour long. The show stars Diamond Dallas Page as Nighthawk, aka Atticus Payne, right? You got Derek Mears as Awesome Man, Denise Richards as Laura Lang, Will Yun Lee as Marvelous Man, Andy Milonakis as a talk show host, Phil Hart, Christopher Judge as President Nicholas E. Newcomb, obviously a reference to Duke Nukem. You got John Morrison as Red Talon, and Jackson Rathbone as Blue Scream, Jane Seymour as Allison Walker. Holy shit, that was Kellen Lutz as King Tsunami. I didn't recognize him. And also Bridget Nielsen as Anubis Queen. And Eddie Gaffiri as Mr. Smiles. Wow. So is that a chick? Oh, it's a okay. Never mind. There was a character in the show who I thought was a man playing a woman, or like a man playing a transgender woman. Apparently, it was an openly transgender actress. I didn't know that. Yeah, so this show is very weird. Well, the show came out in like March 1st and 22nd on Netflix. The show is it's basically like a parody of superhero comics and 80s cartoon shows and 80s action movies, right? Which when I watched the first 2 minutes of this show, I thought it was the guys from Kung Fury who made this, because the show is very 80s stylized with the music and the title cards. A lot of green screen action action scenes in the show, and there's even for the stuff that they didn't have the budget for, they did like animated cartoons of like the action scenes, right? And there's even one action scenes where they made it look like Dragon Ball Z, right? But the show is about, which there's going to be spoilers in this review. There just is, because this show, some things about it I really enjoyed. Other things made me fucking want to rage quit the show. If it wasn't for the fact that some you guys started voting for this review, I almost quit the show at the end of episode 6 because there was a plot twist I didn't like. So the show, before I get into spoilers, the show is about basically in this comic book universe, that there was basically 3 world wars by like 1947, and the Germans had mechanized their army with giant robots and there's a mecha Hitler. And what ends up happening is this superhero shows up called Marvelous Man, who is basically played by Will Young Lee, I think he's like a South Korean actor, or he's of Korean descent. He was in like Elektra, if you ever seen that Elektra film, and I think he was also in that Witchblade TV series I never watched. Yeah, so he plays this like Superman character who is immortal, right? And has been protecting, the Earth for 40 years. In the 60s, met a fellow superhero called Nighthawk, which that's Nighthawk with a K, not with an N, right? Which, when I heard that, I watched a review for this, and when I heard there was a superhero named Nighthawk, I was like, did they not know there was already a Batman ripoff called Nighthawk? In the Marvel comics, right? Apparently it's Nighthawk with a K. They meet in the 60s, and they establish a Justice League team with Marvelous Man, Nighthawk, Speed, who's like a female Flash ripoff. You got Awesome Man, who it's like, I'm not gonna spoil what he's a parody of, but he's basically a parody of Shazam. Okay, you got Black Bow and Blue Scream, which Black Bow is like a combination of Black Canary and Green Arrow, and Blue Scream is basically like a punk rocker Banshee, but he can't fly. And the other members of the team are what was her name? Golden Goddess, who's like a Indian Wonder Woman ripoff, and I think the final member is like asshole, like an asshole Aquaman ripoff called Tsunami. So what happens in the very first episode? The Marvelous Man, on the night of Marvelous Day, the day where they celebrate the superhero Marvelous Man, he commits suicide with basically his version of a kryptonite bullet, right? And this causes the world to go fucking batshit insane. There's nuclear war. There's like this rogue nation that's basically like a parody of Cobra from like G.I. Joe, right? With like clan hoods, right? Who are threatening to invade America, right? The Russians, which they have a parody of Vladimir Putin, because of course they do, wants to nuke America because America is fucking crazy. Which the president, even though the president Nick Nukem, who's very cool in the TV show, is very much a dumbass, and like right, and like yeah, the plot is basically the world's going to shit, and you follow our main character, which is Nighthawk, played by Diamond Dallas Page, as he investigates the suicide or possible murder of Marvelous Man. While that's going on, secrets get revealed. Half the fucking roster turns out to be gay. Villains that were supposedly killed or locked away, it turns out to be working with the heroes. You got some of the heroes are like junkies, and you have like other characters that are like, you know, villain that use villain. Well, Nighthawk uses villains, blackmails like villains and heroes to get what he wants, right? Yeah. So, what did I think about the show? I think the problem with the show is it's very. I liked the show. The writing wasn't too bad, right? It's very much in line with comic book writing. My problem with it, and like I think it's kind of cool and ambitious that hey, that the story is basically hey, we're basically doing like Watchmen, but with a Justice League ripoff, right? And they rip off a lot of shit from Watchmen, which there are parodies and like homages to like shit from pop culture. There's like fuck, what's it called? What was that fucking Showdown in Little Tokyo? Not Showdown in Little Tokyo. Fuck, the fucking movie with Russell. Fuck, I forget what it's called. But it's like it's a movie where like Kurt Russell plays Jack Burton, right? Yeah, that movie. There's a parody of that character. You have the fucking assault rifles from Halo is in the fucking show. Gray Fox's cyborg ninja helmet is in the fucking TV show as well, right? My problem with the show is the show. I don't know. The show is very badass, high octane action in some of the episodes, right? Like especially with the Red Talon character, which just like in like the comics, which this is the first like aside from like Tech Knight from The Boys, this is like the first like Batman ripoff where they give you not just a Robin but a Nightwing, right? Which his Nightwing is called Red Talon, who after he quit being like Nighthawk's sidekick, he went on to join the army and is now is like this like Captain America like character. Red Talon is basically like just like a combination of Rambo meets like an asshole like Nightwing, and also there's a Robin character played called Little Wing, who I thought was supposed to have superpowers, but apparently he's just trained, right? There's even like a Spider-Man ripoff in the show, but I thought it was cool. Oh, they have both a Nightwing and a Robin character in this show, right? But yeah, my problem with the show is that it's revealed that like half the fucking characters are gay out of fucking nowhere, right? And it goes into, and it also, here's the fucking thing, right? I feel like that shit was either he was ripping off, because and if you ever read Watchmen, the Minutemen, right? The original Minutemen have to, like, 3 of the major members turn out to be gay, right? Not just the what's her? Oh, fuck. I can't remember all of the Minuteman characters, but like Hooded Justice and Captain Metropolis, and there was the openly lesbian character, right? Here, it's like half the characters were gay. Even like Nighthawk uses this fucking like supercomputer like cerebral fucking thing, and he finds out there's like a hidden memory, and it turns out he was having a gay relationship with another member of the team that he didn't know about, but like they forced him to have his memory erased. And so he's like, he gets out of the machine and he's like, what the fuck is this bullshit? Are you fucking with me? And he's like, no. Like the computer's like, oh, I'm programmed not to lie, Nighthawk. It's like, what the fuck, man? But yeah, it feels like the climax of the show. It just is just thrown. Like they had the plot with like who or what killed, you know, Marvelous Man, aka the Superman ripoff, and then like, you know, that wasn't good enough, so they had to have this plot where like, you know, basically, spoiler alert, they turned Nighthawk into a villain after this makes no sense. After he risked his life to solve like Marvelous Man's murder, why the fuck would he just go super villain and try to take over the planet? Which he kind of does. And then like the feminist fucking Flash ripoff, Speed, goes to try to take him out with like Awesome Man's help, and it's revealed that Awesome Man is actually, which it was no surprise to me that he was a Shazam ripoff, because obviously he came off like his powers was a clue that he was a Shazam ripoff, and then the way he talked. But like, it turns out he's Little Wing, right? So like, yeah, right. So I'm not gonna say how it ends, but like, you know, how it ends. But yeah, I thought like, wow, dude, they totally, not only did they rip off like, you know, they ripped off Watchmen a lot, but like other than that, I thought I enjoyed this show, but I was not a fan of the woke stuff. It feels like, you know, that was shoehorned in. And then there was the fucking shit with there's like a black Joker character called Mr. Smiles, who's fucking super brutal. Brutally, you see him brutally kill a bunch of people. And that actor was played by another actor from the Twilight films. He was like, right, I forget his name, but he was in he was one of the bad guys in the first one, right? And it turns out that character wasn't real. So all the scenes where we saw Mr. Smiles kill fucking people, that actually didn't happen, right? And it was like, what the fuck? Are you fucking joking? That was fucking bullshit. And then there's also the fact that Adi Shankar, who plays Logan Lockwood, which is the creator of the show, plays this like Lex Luthor character who hates the superheroes and wants to be thinks they're like fascists and they want to, like, you know, overthrow everything. And he's the one who made the bullet that kills Marvelous Man, which is called the God Killer. All right. And like, I thought, man, that was like a shameless self-insert. And then like at the end of the fucking episode 6, he has this, like, you know, monologue, very politically charged monologue. It's funny how these leftists will go on rants about authoritarianism when it deals with right-wingers, but when it's like when it comes to authoritarianism by left-wingers, they're silent. They're okay with that. Yeah, fucking bullshit. But yeah, like, that felt like, you know, that was kind of cringe. Oh, you have this self-insert character, and then he goes on a political rant. Yeah. So other than that, I did enjoy the show, and I kind of, it didn't end like you expected to, but it has this somewhat subversive ending. But then you remember, oh yeah, it's ripping off Watchmen, so it's kind of it had a very similar ending to Watchmen. The only difference was they kind of do set up that, oh, like, the Nighthawk might have had a good reason for what he did, right? And that, you know, there's basically a Galactus threat coming to the Earth, and that's why he did what he did. Also, by the way, lots of video game references in the fucking show, like Street Fighter, Streets of Rage, and obviously Mortal Kombat, where they say fatality after somebody gets killed, right? And that's another criticism I have with the show is they keep switching from like live action to like animation to like video game bullshit, and it's like, dude, like one or two, but like all three, man. What the fuck, man? It got fucking a bit. It got discombobulating or whatever, right? With it fucking constantly changing, changing like styles of filmmaking, right, in the fucking show, man. So that might be a big turn off for people, right? The constantly switching of animations, all the fact that the show looks fucking cheap as hell, and there's the bad acting. But I thought aesthetically the show looked good. I liked a lot of the major characters. I really liked Nighthawk. I thought the Nighthawk character was pretty fucking cool, to be honest. He was very fucking cool in my opinion. How he like drinks liquor and smokes cigars, but I thought it was very fucking weird that they never talked about Alex, which is his transgender maid or whatever. Like, what are they in a relationship or what the fuck is up with that? Which, yeah, it's very fucking weird, and they make characters gay out of fucking nowhere. It's just bullshit. But other than that, I enjoyed the show. But I honestly cannot give the show, especially if what I've heard is true, and that this show had a fucking huge fucking budget, which I heard this show had like a $100 million budget or whatever, which no way is that fucking true. Like, no way that this show had a huge fucking budget, because it looked like a fucking web series, man. And you have like D-list actors working on the fucking show. Like, there's no way this show had I'd say this show has a few $1 million budget tops, right? Which is not telling me the budget, but I heard it was fucking huge. But yeah, if I were to give this show a rating, I would say it's a 4 out of 10. But I think if you're a fan of DC Comics, right, and you like 80s aesthetics, synthwave stuff, lots of synthwave stuff in the show, right? And like, if you're a fan of Rob Zombie films, there's like a Rob Zombie films kind of feel. There's even the one little person actor who was in like Free From Hell and what was that other fucking movie? Whatever. He was in like 2 Rob Zombie movies. He plays like a cop in the fucking show. He was in there too, so I thought, oh, that's fucking awesome. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's hard to. This show is very niche. But I would say if you're a fan of like superhero shows and you're a fan of superhero comics, this is worth checking out. But it's very low budget, but aesthetically, it's a very cool looking show. Okay, I'm sorry that the fucking review went on for so long, but this is a podcast, okay? Peace.